Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome on this beautiful September day. Let's all take a deep breath and get centered and get focused and be intentional about connecting with God is everywhere, but that thing that happens when we come together, where two or more are gathered together, let's connect with that. You don't have to connect with God. You can't get any closer to God than you're in God. There's no such thing as getting closer to God. But there's something about this set apart space and time, this unique day. I want you to connect with that. Feel the connection that you have with the people in this room. Those of you who are watching at home, connect with us. Let yourself feel some gratitude this morning. Some of you are just grateful you found a parking space, or, we'll take it. Little miracles, lots of little miracles. Every little miracle counts. Think about the things you've been through this week and how you got through them. David was intentional when he said, I will. He talked about gates and courts. I will enter his gates with thanksgiving. In other words, I'm at this place, but I'll go to that place. So come into this house that we build here today. Maybe let's just lift up our hands. And that posture, we have a lot of connection to that posture. It's not just about worship. It's about other things. It's about agreement and testimony and really being here, being present. We throw that term around a lot, but it matters. Presence matters. It matters that today you showed up. It matters that you're here. It matters that you made the effort. It matters that you got up and got ready and got in a car and drove over here. And nothing against the people who didn't, but there's a different dimension when you make that effort. He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So I bless your diligence this morning. Amen. Let's remain standing. Let's do the Lord's Prayer. Please, our Father who art in heaven, presence of divine love and light that lives within us and within all of life, hallowed be thy name. We invoke the powerful creative nature of all that is sacred and holy. Thy kingdom come. We embrace the healing essence that is the kingdom of heaven within us. Thy will be done. We accept our greatest good as we align with our divine nature, on earth as it is in heaven, knowing that the affairs of our lives reflect our evolving consciousness. Give us this day our daily bread. Each day we receive great blessings from within and throughout all the activities of our lives. And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. We accept the divine nature of all things and all people, including ourselves, as we move away from judgment and toward greater awareness of divine presence. And lead us not into temptation. We shall be vigilant in expressing and experiencing the oneness with all life. But deliver us from evil as we are learning to live without fault-finding and suffering. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. For we accept the consciousness of divine perfection with all its power and glory right here, right now, and forever. Amen. And so it is. Tell somebody there's nobody I'd rather sit next to than you today, and then you may be seated. You can be seated. Our outreach this month is the National Alliance to End Homelessness. And that doesn't mean exterminating them. I digress. You know, I'm going to get controversial right off the bat, and I just went right for it. I shouldn't have watched the news this morning. Anyway, so we're giving to that this month, and you know, of all the things I love about Metro, and I think I may love that, if not the most, as much as anything, is that it's not like we're giving major amounts of money, but we've been consistent, and for 11 years, there hasn't been a month that we didn't give to some, you know, worthy place like this. So come on in. So that's good. Hello. Also, we got meditation weekend number 27. Every time I say it, I think that is that 27. It is. Number 27 on October 25th and 26th in Blue Ridge, Georgia. If you haven't been to Blue Ridge before, it's a beautiful, quaint little town, little railroad town, especially beautiful in the fall. One of the best ones we ever did was up there, but it was in the winter. We were all inside. That you know, the one that I've done that picture a million times that BJ took with the drone. It was number 9, and we were right beside a 9. I say crop circle. I'm sure a mower must have done it. It was just the way he captured that, because it looked like a 9. That was Blue Ridge. So I'm expecting. Come in. I'm expecting good things in Blue Ridge. Trisha's still wanting a rainbow. You might get a rainbow in Blue Ridge, but it doesn't always happen on the mountains. Have rainbows. We had rainbows in Dahlonega, so it could happen. You never know. I still love. Sonia called me the Rainbow Whisperer when I was there. Still one of my. I'm putting it in all of my resumes. Entrepreneur, influencer, Rainbow Whisperer. But anyway, so that's all good. Hope everybody had a good week. There's no way I could let this go, but Tricia, come up here and just tell us what happened this week. Come stand over here. I was, depending on how much you know or don't know about it, one of the most extreme physical things anybody can go through, to the point that you know, there's been a lot of Sundays when I've seen her come in, I'm like, and she doesn't live that close. I'm like, man, that's amazing that you even did that. But she went this week for, was it just a routine PET scan?
Yeah,
or
they do scans every
just to kind of see where she was in the, we don't even say the word that much because we just don't want to energize it, but come on in. But anyway, she went, if I don't shut up, I'll tell the whole thing. It's not my story, it's your story. So let me start over. Tricia, how was your week? Anything new? Anything new happening? What's going on?
Yeah, it was an incredible week. I don't know how many of you know, like a lot of you read between the lines. But I was diagnosed back in December of last year, actually November of last year, with stage 4 metastatic disease. And, you know, it's been a challenge. The medicine they tried to use to help, cure this thing, my body couldn't tolerate it. They tried 2 different ones. The second one made me sicker than the first. And so we were doing the scans because my doctor was oncologist was preparing to put me on a chemo pill that I didn't really want. She had recommended it, I guess, about 2 months ago, and I said no, because I was finally feeling better. And so anyway, I said, let's.
And you had surgery a few months. You remember at our Christmas
surgery.
thing, she had just had back surgery that had to do with the.
That's where they found it. It basically exploded my T12 disc in my back, so I have a fusion there. So anyway, I didn't want to take a chemo pill when she offered it to me. I settled for this, what they call the boom boom shot. And so I'm taking another shot that's supposed to help my bones to keep from the Mets from gathering together, throwing a party, and breaking another bone. So I had the PET scan. It was my 3-month, and I was looking for no evidence of disease back in June when I had the PET, and the results were mixed. And it was still showing at the T12. It was still showing in my hip, but it was a lot smaller. But I've been having a lot of pain recently, and so we're kind of like. So I went in just kind of like trying to disassociate from the outcome from the scan. And when she walked into the office, she was the sweetest thing. She walks in, she was always behind a mask, and her eyes.
You're
I'm
oncologist.
oncologist, yeah. Her eyes are like big as saucers, and she goes, complete remission.
Which they never use that word for stage 4,
No,
do they?
No, it's very, very rare. And especially for someone who hasn't been able to tolerate the medication that could have put me there. And so we were dancing. I don't dance.
She said she's never seen anything like it, right?
Yeah, she was floored. She was expecting to put me on the chemo pill this Wednesday. And instead, she's reduced one of the shots to, instead of every 4 weeks, every 12 weeks.
And you would have been happy if they had just said,
No
it
progression.
hasn't progressed
Yes.
any further.
My whole
that
prayer
would have
was,
been good news.
Please, no progression. That's all I wanted to see. And what we saw was absolute. I read the report like in detail, and there is absolutely no evidence of disease anywhere in my bones or any of my organs or anything.
Isn't that amazing?
So, I told Pastor Jim that like I was trying to do that thing where you associate your emotions with what you want to happen. Mm-hmm. And I was driving down the road. It was either Wednesday or it was either Monday or Tuesday of last week. And I had this moment where I was trying to imagine what it would feel like to hear no progression. And then I took it a little further, and I was like, I want to hear there's nothing there, you know. And I had goosebumps, like chill bumps from head to toe when that happened in the car. And I remember saying to myself after I was driving further and the goosebumps kind of went away, and I was like, you need to remember this moment because something just happened. And it was like, it's the first time I've been able to connect a thought with an emotion like that. And it's something that you teach on the regular, and it's something that's been, for whatever reason, difficult for me to do, but in that moment I was able to do it. And I just wanted to thank y'all for standing with me, for your prayers, your thoughts, your vibes, everything. That this place is like, I don't even know how to put it in words, but you posted an older meditation this morning. And he talked about you throw your net on the other side of the boat. And I feel like when I stepped into the circle that's Metron, I threw my net. I pretty much quit on church, quit on God, everything. And I threw my net on the other side when I stepped into this circle, and my life has just been radically changed. Especially my thought life. It's like I don't recognize the voice in my head anymore as my own. I've always struggled with depression and just really, really deep. And I'm in a place where I had this same disease 15 years ago. Different place, but same disease. And it's different this time. It's different this time. It's still been challenging and whatnot, don't get me wrong, but I'm finding a place inside of me that I didn't know existed, a strength. I'm not like, it's very strange to say this, but I'm not looking like for God to rescue me. I'm looking for God to just flow through me.
Come on. I love it.
And so anyway,
Beautiful.
thank you.
So happy for you.
Thank you.
Again, most of y'all know this. Come on. Most of y'all know this, but has it been 2 years?
It's 2 years since we met online.
When there was one night, we still don't know how my 1111 appeared in her feed because there was no algorithm for it, and it was right on time. And then It's actually, let me just hold that thought because I might want to refer to this in my official teaching. So that was some great news. And you know, if you hadn't had that great news, we would have still powered through and said, all right, well then what? But I got to tell you, that was, Tricia, as many of y'all do, will text me, but doesn't ever call. If she does, she'll be like, can I call you or whatever. And I was sitting at Starbucks this week when I saw her. She was calling me. I thought, this is either really good or really bad because this is out of character. And it was really good. And it was, I know it's your miracle, but it was a shot in the arm for me. I was like, thank you.
I think it's our miracle.
Yeah, exactly. We're all connected. That's why you should never resent somebody else's good news because it's your good news too. Somebody else's miracle is your miracle. It's not just inspirational, it's actually yours too.
Yeah, it's what happened with Ken. I've watched him walk his miracle out in real time, and I'm convinced that has helped me to believe that I too can get a miracle.
Wow.
And so, yeah, this is our miracle. This is our Metron miracle. This is my people. Yeah. And so we're all connected.
Thanks for coming. Drive safely. I mean, that's as good as it's going to get today. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. That could just be the foundation we're going to build on today. So I need today. I need to be here, and I'll save that I keep saving everything for my sermon. When's this big sermon coming? You keep saving all this stuff for it. Maybe I should just get into it.
I just want to say I appreciate Trish's strength because I remember at meditation when she got the picture.
Oh, were you at that one?
Yeah. And was it from Leslie? Who gave it?
Leslie, yeah.
You were at a really, I could sense that bad place where it was like giving up. So it has taught us a lot.
Yes. Yeah. You're saying his walk influenced you, but you're saying her walk, you know what I mean? It's like it's
Interconnected.
It's ongoing.
Oh, yeah.
And several times this week, because you and I have had several conversations where we've talked about, I said, the situation I'm in right now is amazing similarities. And several times this week, I've drawn strength from that. I'm like not everybody would understand how do you translate what's going on with her, because it's all the same thing. And I'm just reiterating what you just said, but yes. I want to save it for my sermon. What? Haven't you done enough?
One more kind of praise report that I want to
All right.
kind of close through. After I left here last Sunday.
When you got mad when I was preaching, you're like, I am out of here. I cannot hear him one more minute. You got your thing. Ken said, where did BJ go? I said, you don't even want to know. What?
Well, it's not going to sound like a praise report when it starts, but after I left here, I got several phone calls that my father had a stroke.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't actually tell anyone, but going through all of that this week, like Ken, he's fine. No,
Right.
no repercussions.
Right.
Nothing. He's good. And again, being in this circle of power, that you don't even have to call it out. It's
Yeah.
there. It's there for you to draw from.
Yes.
Just being within, just like what Trish said, when you come into the circle, you get something out, and it spreads not only to you, but to those who you love.
I love that. And we send all good energy and healing light to your sweet dad. He's such a sweet guy. And thank you for sharing that. Wow. All right. Anybody else? The bar's been raised pretty high. Okay. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Welcome to the Metron podcast, coming to you from, where are we? The Atlanta Theater. And as always, we appreciate Charles McFall, who's having a birthday this week, by the way. So somebody remind me at the end of the thing, when I say pay it forward, he's got the Cash Apps. Go send him a little something. Charles he's a good dude, and we always appreciate his work. So happy early birthday! It is this week, isn't it, Charles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ageless in time.
And you had one this week too, didn't you, Ernie? Ernie's like, y'all didn't send me anything on my birthday. Ask that one if he's got anything for you. Y'all send Ernie something too. Send everybody something. Let's all get each other's Cash Apps and let's just move money around today. That would be good. I do speak into this atmosphere and say, "Let there be light." There's a part 5. I'm continuing. I started not to. I thought now 4, because y'all didn't really say anything about last week, and I usually wait for your feedback, and it was crickets last week. I kept saying, I said to Ken, I said, "Was I really bad today?" He said, "Well, no." Why? I said, "Because nobody said anything." I'm wanting to text people like, "Did you like it today? Who is this? Who's got my number?" But then I realized you didn't hear about half of it. But we had a conversation yesterday, and in that conversation, I thought, you know what? I still need. There's a part 5. There's still more that I need to say. So our title for this series, that's turned into at least a 5-parter, this may be the end, I don't know, is "In a Beginning, Vibrating to Create the Reality You Want." And I'm going to use this scripture again, just real quick, literal Old Testament. Instead of it saying "in the beginning," it says, the Hebrew actually says, "in a beginning, created by the Alueim, the Elohim, were the heavens and the earth. Yet the earth became a chaos and vacant, and darkness was on the surface of the submerged chaos. Yet the spirit of the Alueim is vibrating," present tense, "over the surface of the water, and saying is the Elohim, the Alueim, the Allah, become light, and it is becoming light." Main point being that when you say "in the beginning," it means fundamentalism, it means legalism, it means this is the story of record. When you say "in a beginning," you're implying a multiverse. You're saying, here's one possibility, a way this could have happened. The diamond has many facets on it, okay? The scripture that always goes with Genesis 1:1 is John 1:1. Genesis 1:1 is Hebrew, "in the beginning." In English translations, God created. In John 1:1, it's "in the beginning was the Word." And the New Testament's getting a bad rap these days. A lot of people don't care about the words in red anymore, but I'm old school. I still believe in Jesus. It's so funny, some of the people that think I don't talk about Jesus, I look at their pages, I'm like, baby, I talk about Jesus way more than you do. I'm actually quoting Jesus from the Gospels. I don't know if you ever heard of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but I like those words in red. But in the New Testament's in Greek, and I was looking for a translation that said "in a beginning was the Word," and I did find it in the Jonathan Mitchell New Testament, where one of the translations is "within a beginning there was the Logos," the Word, the thought, the collection of thoughts, the idea, the reason, the discourse, the word, or in Aramaic, the willed action became flesh and dwelt among us. And that's how we know that Christ pre-existed Jesus being born in Bethlehem. Very important that you know that. Then I want to show you, this is where I want to go with this today. Let's see. This is Matthew 6:10, and this is in the Voice translation. This is part of the Lord's Prayer, where King James says, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." In the Voice it says, "Bring about your kingdom, manifest your will here on earth as it is manifest in heaven." The reason I want to bring that into this idea of the multiverse is that a thing that happens exists in multiple dimensions. Okay? You know what I want to do today, Michelle? I'm going to just go ahead and run through this outline. I just want to knock it out because I want to just talk to you about some things, and I want to make these points. So that doesn't mean you're ready to pack up and go yet. But let me show you this. This is this number 4. Oh no, is Dr. Dispenza, who says this. You are not a linear being living a linear life. You're a dimensional being living a dimensional life. Keep that in your memory because that's very important to what I'm going to talk about today. This next meme, I just love. Whoever wrote this, the apostrophe S implies possession, which is not exactly. I don't know how else you would say it. I wonder what the other me's are up to in other dimensions. That kind of makes my point. Then let me show you this. This is number 6. This is Matthew 16:19 in the Concordant literal version. This is where he talks about whatever you bind on earth is bound in heaven, whatever you loose on earth is loosed in heaven. He says, "I will be giving you the keys," and I've never heard anybody else teach on this but me. I don't mean that in a grandiose way. I'm not. When I say that, I'm not bragging about myself. I'm just saying I never heard anybody else teach on it. This is how you know my stuff is. Come on in. My stuff is always first generational because if I quote somebody, what's up, bud? I'll always credit them with the quote. I quote some of y'all. If you say something to me, I'll be like, "It's like so and so said last week." But I've never heard anybody else acknowledge that the keys was plural. I think that's important. In fact, keys of the kingdom, in my mind, is very connected to in a beginning. It's like standing at did you hear that? Did your spirit hear that? It's like standing there trying to open a door, and that's not the key, but I got a key ring with other keys, so if that's not it, there will be another one. Knock and keep on knocking is what the Amplified Bible says. Seek and keep on seeking. So I think keys plural means there are possibility for lots of beginnings. Y'all with me? He says, "I will be giving you the keys of the kingdom of the heavens." Very important. When people translated this, they said the kingdom of heaven. That is not what the Greek says. It talks about heavens plural. One thing I love about the Jonathan Mitchell New Testament is he always says heavens and atmospheres, which is dimensions. So the kingdom of the heavens is very different than the kingdom of heaven. If I say kingdom of heaven, people think of gates of pearl and streets of gold and angels and harps and all the trappings of what you think heaven finite is. Heaven is in the beginning. Y'all with me? Heavens is in a beginning. So the kingdom of the heavens, the kingdom of the atmospheres, the kingdom of the dimensions, the kingdom of the possibilities, the kingdom of the potentials. I will be giving you the keys of the kingdom of the heavens, and whatsoever you should be binding on the earth shall be those things having been bound in the heavens, shall be those having been loosed in the heavens. In quantum physics, what they say is the unified quantum field has unlimited potential. And however you observe a reality in that, it collapses into your reality. Let me say it to you this way. The quantum field is all the A's, the A beginnings. When you see it a certain way, it becomes your. Here's all the ways this thing could have played out. The way I choose to see it is how it does play out. I mean, to me, the kingdom of the heavens is as radical as in a beginning. It's like, I know it's just a little bit of a tweaking of just one letter, but it makes all the difference in the world. So when we talk about loosing on earth what is loosed in the heavens, in one of the heavens, in one of the possibilities, in one of the atmospheres, I'm basically talking about getting something out of one dimension into another dimension. Every word wants to be made flesh. I've been saying this for years. I said, I don't have any way to prove this. This just feels right in my spirit. Judge it however you want. I think everything you say becomes a reality in one of the dimensions. It might not ever manifest in this one where you live and move and have most of your being, but it's real somewhere. It's in one of the dimensions. You know, in quantum physics, they initially said there were 18 dimensions. Then they said, 11. Then they said there were 18. Now they just say, we don't know. It's infinite. It's the heavens. And notice he says, whatever you loose. When people say, well, I just know God's got a plan. No, baby. God's plan was that you would have a plan. Thanks for coming. That was God's plan. When the Elohim says, let us make people in our image and let's let them have dominion. Let's let them see what they can create. It's the biggest lie that church world has sold, is God's got a plan and you don't know what it is. You're going to spend years trying to find out what it is. And the plan was that you would come up with a plan. Decree a thing and it'll be established unto you. And the reason it becomes just easier and lazier to just depend on God's up to something, I don't know what it is. It's just easier to do that because it takes all responsibility off of you. And there are things that happen to us that are inexplicable and we feel overwhelmed because we're like, why the heck is this happening to me? And because it feels bigger than you, it's just easier to believe there's a bigger plan working, and it's just easier. I saw this meme. I may have posted it before. I don't remember, but it's a drawing of I don't know how to, not a stick figure, but it's like a person that's got like stars in them, and the like it looks like an outer space picture, and it says, as it turns out, you didn't have to worry about anything. The universe, meaning it was all going to work out. I'll get back to that in a minute. Here's Matthew 16:19 in the JMNT. I will continue giving to you the keys, means of locking or unlocking, which have their origin and source in the reign and activities of the heavens, which pertain to and have the characteristics of the kingdom of the heavens, or which belong to the sovereignty from the atmospheres, or as a reign of the heavens. I mean, don't you realize when people say the universe, that's what they're saying? And so, whatever you can or may or should bind upon the earth will continue being something having been bound and still remaining bound within the midst of the heavens or in the atmospheres. That's why when somebody says, why do you say the universe? The universe didn't die on the cross for your sins. Do you understand when Jesus said, if there's any way, let this cup pass from me, he was saying, is there another way? this reality, that people could just feel connected to God without me going through this. But because people came from an idea of blood sacrifice, all right, out of my love for you, I'm going to collapse into your need for this. But he had already said, now you're clean through the words that I've spoken to you. Honestly, when people say, what do you think he meant when he said it is finished? I think he was saying, your way of thinking this should have been done is finished now. Basically, are you happy now? I did it. I'm keeping the scars in my hands. You can see them. There they are. But we didn't have to do any of this. Who told you were naked in the first place? And whatever you can or may or should loose upon the earth will continue being something having been loosed or unbound or untied and remaining free of bonds within the midst of the heavens or in the atmospheres, plural. Was that number 7?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now let me talk to you. You know how I've said to you before, I've said it to you a lot, that sometimes the worst thing that ever happened to you can end up being the best thing. And if not the best thing, it can be basically an all things work together for good scenario. And you've all experienced that before. How is it possible that a bad thing can be a good thing? How could Peter stand up on the day of Pentecost and rebuke the crowd for crucifying Jesus? He rebukes them. He says, it was terrible what you did. He wasn't talking about the cross he was not singing, I will cherish the old rugged cross at all. Just the opposite. He was saying, how dare you make this innocent man get crucified? And then in the next breath says, and it happened exactly as God had ordained. What are you talking about, Peter? You're talking about two complete different things. How can a bad thing be a good thing? If you don't hear anything else I say today, hear this. Everything that happens to you exists in more than one dimension. It exists in at least 2, and probably more. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. Ken recently found out, since the pandemic, he's been staying out there in the office there. He bought a bed and he sets it up, and it saved him, especially when we were living downtown, that's why he bought a bigger car, which, because I'm not driving that much, and it's made him, that's why he's scaled down and gotten a smaller car now, because now he's driving back and forth every night because he can't stay there. And it was troubling, and it bothered him, and it's affected a relationship between him and somebody else. And it was like super, super painful and negative. Is it okay that I'm talking about this? And he said, but I'm glad it happened because I need to get some things. He didn't say kick in the pants, but that's what he was saying. He said, I hate it. And when you get kicked in the pants, guess what? The pants hurt. Jacob wrestled with God / angel / higher self. But how did he leave? Limping. You can win the fight, and the fight still takes a lot out of you. And there's no other way I can say this, so pardon my French. There's just some things that suck, that happen, and they just do. And people telling you, oh, that's not so bad, or whatever, it's like, or somebody saying, somebody's got. I wish Paul had just said, all things, including things that suck, work together for good. Because we have this idea that, it's all, no, some of the things that work together for good nearly kill you. People have asked me, like, what's it like in your current situation? I've been there nearly 8 months, living at, it's my house, but it's her house. taking care of my mom. I don't know if I ever mentioned it to you. I didn't know if I'd ever told. Did I ever tell y'all that? I can't remember if I ever said anything. You know, I'm a very private person. I keep it close to the vest. Nobody knows what's going on with me. I'm a man of mystery. When people have asked about it, I said, you know, it's strange because it's great and it's horrible. And when I say it's horrible, it's not like, I'm not blaming my mom, and she's not to the place where it's not like we're not to the place where I'm changing bedpans. And so it's not that hands-on. But it's still a lot. It's a lot because I mentioned some things about the way I was raised, and Ross said that you said your mom was very much the same. And I don't know if this is just something that only children go through, because you were an only child, right? You know, you're an only child. Well, it's, you know, with those of you that have more than one kid, you know how that first kid, you're like super protective, and then the more you have, you're like, if you got a bunch of them, you're like, I don't know, y'all figure it out. But for people that only have one kid, that child becomes the center of the universe. And people say, oh, it's so special, you're spoiled. It's a lot. Let me tell you something, it's a lot. I've told you this before, but Ken's dad was diagnosed with leukemia. My dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and Mom was diagnosed with Parkinson's within like a 3-week period. And this is when my dad was still alive and lucid, and we were having dinner one night, and my mom said, this is too much for you to take care of both of us. She said, we should have had more children. I said, thanks for thinking of it now. Yes, you should have. So it's not that Mom's very grateful, and she's not unreasonably demanding, and doesn't really need to be, because we're on top of everything. I mean, I came in with grocery bags. She said, you're wonderful. Because she didn't have to tell me to do that. And I told her, I said, you can't order from Instacart anymore, because we can't do $700 worth of dry dog food because your hand was shaking. I said, just from now, just let me handle it. And so that's fine. The problem is, mainly for me, is when you've lived with somebody super protective and super, I don't want to say controlling in a bad way, but controlling. Suddenly you fall back into those patterns, and now you leave the house, and where are you going? Who are you going to be with? What time are you going to be back? And you're like, no, I'm 67. I'm my grandfather. We can't have this kind. It doesn't matter where I go. I don't have to account to you where I am. This isn't 1972, and we struggle with that. And when I push back, she remembers, oh, it's 2025, and I'm like, no, you can't. And I'm not scared of him anymore. He's gone. So, but you understand what I'm saying? It's like, I have to fight for the now. But there's parts of it. Well, yesterday, he went out and mowed. I said, I don't think the grass needs it. I think we're fine. He said, no, I don't want it to get ahead of me. But part of it's because it's cathartic for him. It's not like I'm saying, get out there and mow that grass. No, he wanted to do it. I mean, I saw him out there, and it wasn't that hot. And, I took him some water, and I had to go to the store, and we sat on the front porch and looked at the lawn, and I'm saying, I think that tree's dead. I got to take that out, and, we need to put some sod. But we like that. We've never, the whole 13 years we've been together, we've lived in a small place downtown. We've never had a yard. We've never had any of that. And it's a constant responsibility to keep it up, but it's something we've never done before, and we actually enjoy it. This morning I came out, I was getting ready, and he already had the bed made and was sitting on a stool at the end of the bed. I said, why did you make it? He said, well, it just looks good. I said, well, to look at it. I said, it does look good. It turned out really good. But now you don't have any place to sit because you already made it. We need a chair. We need a better chair in that room. But the point is, there's parts of it that are very enjoyable. It cuts off some of his, probably 30 minutes of your travel time, because he's going to Stone Mountain, which right now, since he's doing it every night, is much better. So, but there's also a part of it, like, I called it Howie this way. Have I ever mentioned Howie to you? But he and Jerry just went out to Las Vegas to see the Eagles at the Sphere and see the Wizard of Oz thing, which I would love to do. But I can't do that. I mean, I'm already having to prepare for the 48 hours I'm going to be in Blue Ridge next month, because there's a whole thing I got to do and pay people. And so I've never resented it, but I called him and said, so how was your trip? And I said, and don't make it sound too great. Because right now, you traveling everywhere, going everywhere in the world, it's like you might as well be living on Jupiter. I don't have that life. I can't have that life. And when I first moved in there, he said, can I just say something to you? He said, you're living my worst nightmare. He said, I don't know if I should. I said, no, actually, I'm glad that you said it, because it does feel like that sometimes. Even yesterday, I said, why don't we just drive up? I know the leaves aren't changing yet, but maybe we could drive up to Delana. And it was just too hard. It was just too hard to try to explain to her where we're going and everything. So it's just where we're at. And there are some times, and thank you for patiently allowing me to vent as much as I have. I hope I've turned it into teachable moments for you. But do you understand what I mean when I say this? There's just some days as a human being, you just want to say, this sucks. And you don't need prayer. You don't need counseling. It is what it is. I know worse situations. I know some people will look at me like, what are you complaining about? You're living in this beautiful house in suburbia. And yeah, you're right. But there's parts of it that suck. And I just want to say, as a human being, I just want to say it sucks, and have another human being connect with me and go, I'm sure it does. I don't even need you to say, it'll be over soon, because it may not be. She could live on for years, and that's the part that I have to wrestle with sometimes, because I think, is this going to be the next decade of my life? Because I got to tell you, I have loved my freedom. All the years that we've been together, we're just like, hey, let's get, we just jump in the car and go somewhere. It's why we never had a dog. Mainly because I was like, I just like being, I just want to go somewhere. And so that's the way that we've lived. Because those of you that have pets know, pets, they change the dynamic. I love that dynamic. I fought very hard to curate that life and have loved every minute of it. I'm not in that place now. That doesn't mean it's the end of the world. I don't need pity. I just need to say sometimes it sucks. But sometimes it's wonderful. No, it sucks and it's wonderful. Because it exists in two dimensions. Please hear what I'm saying. This whole piece about loosing on earth what is loosed in the heavens, what I want you to get is everything in your life is potentially a blessing and a curse. You know, when you rented an apartment and you wanted to buy a house, that was your goal. And you bought a house, you got a mortgage. Now it's a whole thing. Now, if the plumbing's not working, guess who's got to pay for it? You do. You can't call a landlord and say that, because it's not the landlord's responsibility. With everything that happens, there's good and there's the potential for it to be seen through the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. When really it's just all the stuff, but things in this dimension usually get manifested in that other tree. Here's the good stuff and the bad stuff. When really there's just the stuff. We're constantly trying to pull the tree of life into this dimension. And everything about this binary world we live in nearly forces us to see it through the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There really is no good stuff and bad stuff. There's just the stuff. So you've got to figure out, how do I get out of how do I loose out of the heavens all the us into a the that I can live with? Did you get it? You hear what I'm saying? Because all of it's a possibility. In Deuteronomy, God says, I set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life that you and your seed may live. But he's saying, I set it before you. You know, through Pentecostal, charismatic, fundamentalist theology, we got the good stuff comes from God and the bad stuff comes from the devil. The devil's such a bogus idea. I don't know if any of you that went to the first school of the Bible, I don't even remember the references now, but you know how 1 Kings and 1 Chronicles, they tell the same story? They're retold. You're like, no, I've never read the Bible, I have no idea what you're talking about. Well, they do. And there's one story that's told in Kings differently. Like in Kings it says, Satan did so and so. In Chronicles it says just the opposite. It says that God did it. You know, in the Job story, one of Job's friends comes in and he says, well, God didn't do this to you. And Job says, well, if he didn't, who did? And so finally, at the end of it, God comes out of the whirlwind and he says, I didn't do it, Satan didn't do it, you did it. You got to get yourself out of it. Deck yourself with majesty and declare unto me, and I'll tell you that your own right hand can save you. I mean, Job has been so completely misinterpreted. It's the ultimate humanist manifesto is what it is. Because it begins with God and the devil having this game with his life. And when you read that, if you read that literally, it's overwhelming. It's like, well, there's these forces outside of me that are bigger than me. What am I going to do? If God and the devil are playing Russian roulette with my life, then there's no hope for me. And God basically says, Job, you're God, you're the devil. Oh, I know. Thanks. I know. When Jesus would preface some things by saying, not everybody can bear this. It's still the truth, whether you can bear it or not. You know there's truth beyond your theology, right? All right. So, how is a good thing a bad thing and a bad thing a good thing? It depends on how you... Like in my personal living situation, every day I have to make the conscious decision to see it as a blessing. And when I see it as a blessing, I get blessed. But I'm going to tell you something. If I'm not intentional about it, it'll feel like a curse. And you've probably got something going on in your life that you're like, yeah, it's a blessing, but I got to work at it, staying in the... It's like the undertow of the ocean. I'm wanting to be a blessing, but if I don't stay intentional, it sucks me back into a curse. I don't think he'll mind me saying this, and maybe it's necessary that I tell you. He's in a situation with this place that we're not exactly sure how it's going to turn out. I won't go into detail, but it's not his fault. It's a paperwork thing. And when he told me about it, he said, I just need to give you a heads up because I don't know how it's going to affect us long term. And so we talked about it, and he said, I watched you the other day, and this is not what I was talking about, but was it last Sunday or the Sunday before? I said, I just kept chanting, we're not going to leave until we're blessed. We're not going to leave until we get a blessing. And he said, I really took that as a word. Yeah. Because it's, for him, he loves pastoring the church, but he's very proud of this business. He likes being a theater owner, and that's really his livelihood, more than the church's. So his point was, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it'll have to be a blessing. So was it yesterday I called Avery? I said, I just think you probably need to know this because I'm not sure how it's going to affect us. And her first thing was, all I could think of is, maybe was to get someplace with better parking. And she said, it doesn't feel like bad news. I said, well, honestly, nothing's bad news. There's just news. If it's bad news, it's because you released something out of one of the atmospheres. You turned a into a the. I know this is a lot. This is, can I quote Leona one more time? This is for grown folks. Immature Christians cannot bear this. You can't believe. People in that mindset need the devil way more than they need Jesus. Jesus, yeah, whatever, but they need that devil to blame. And so I'm going to say this very carefully, but I wasn't sure I was going to say anything. BJ and I talked about it before service. I said, maybe I can get this out and not have to say it. But I'm going to say this, and I can only hope that you will hear my spirit, because what I'm about to say, as of this week, is one of the most volatile things I've ever seen. This week, someone was murdered who runs a podcast and is a political activist, not an elected official, political activist. And I was looking at all the typical type arguments that I see online, because I have out of 5,000 friends on my main page, they're all over the map. And a lot of times most times I just don't want to get into it. And I even felt like, and this is no reflection on anybody else, I celebrate free speech. Whatever you want to do on your social media platform is your business. Go for it. I'm just saying, for me, I feel like everything you post these days is thrown down the gauntlet waiting for a fight. And I've fought enough in my life. I'm a peacemaker. I just don't want to do it. I think you're pretty clear about what I think about stuff, and that was my point. I wasn't even talking about the murder or assassination of this man that I was somewhat aware of. I was just saying, my point was freedom of speech, which I believe in, also means freedom not to speak. And I said, I just don't feel obligated to weigh in on everything that happens. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not saying anybody else is being presumptuous in doing that. I better not say that. I'm just saying, who do I think I am that I've got to make my public statement? I mean, so what if I don't say something? And I was just basically saying, don't read more into that. I said, in fact, I feel like my life is so open and so transparent that everything I do is the message. You kind of know where I'm coming from on anything. It's just not necessary. If you know me at all, you kind of know what I think about everything. I was not even talking about that event. I was just saying, just across the board, because there's a lot of things. Like in the gay community, there's so many people that stay not angry with me, but frustrated that I don't take more of an activist position. And I'm like, I totally applaud you doing that. I'm just not an activist. I mean, if my marriage gets dissolved, I might march in something. I don't know. But I'm just not, in that sense, I'm just not a good gay. Because I just don't weigh in on a lot of, I mean, every June I'll paint something with the flag on it, and but pretty much I feel like last night Ken and me sitting on the front porch, and I took a picture of it, hashtag Saturday Evening Vibes. That's my statement. I'm saying, here's our gay life. It's us sitting on the front porch taking care of my mom. So I feel like that's making a statement. Like I've lived pretty openly. Before I met Kid, I dated a good bit, and I met people online, and so in your initial meeting, you'd be talking to people, but telling you who you are. So when I would tell people who had no idea who I was, because people would say, "What was it like when you came out?" So I'm like telling them my story, and I would usually lose them when I would say, I remember this one guy, I said, who knows his name? We were sitting at Opry Diem, and so I was telling him, I said, my ex-wife and I were on the Joy Behar show, and that night they showed a clip of my coming out video in Times Square. And when that happens, you're really out. I'm just saying, my point, I'm not bragging about it, and I'm not telling you all the death threats I got that night from it. I'm just saying, when they play your coming out video in Times Square, it's about as out as you're going to get. And he said, "Oh my God," he said, "the most exciting thing that happened to me last year is I bought new tires." I'm like, well, I'm not comparing stories. You asked me what happened when you came out. This is what happened. I had a mega church. I lost about 2,500 members when I came out. I mean, I'm answering your question. And it became a problem because I thought my situation is so different from most people. I don't even know how to tell. One reason Ken and I got along well is he had no idea who I was. So, but my point is, sometimes I think people wish I would, like in the early days, I would get invited to all these rallies that I don't get invited to anymore because I could tell they don't think I'm doing it right. And I'm like, I applaud what y'all do. It's just, I don't have a gay church. I just told the truth about myself, and I encourage other people to tell the truth about themselves. It has nothing to do with my sexual orientation. It has to do with just being able to tell the truth. And providing a place where people can just say, "Oh, this is my husband," or "This is my wife," and there's no like, "Oh, nice to meet you." That's the world I live in. Some people don't think that's enough. Fair enough. I'm just telling you, you do you, I'll do what I'm thinking this is a totally benign statement. I'm just saying I don't feel grandiose enough that I have to weigh in on everything. Yeah. To which I was immediately attacked by somebody I've known for years who interpreted that as I was rejoicing that a man got shot in public. And they specifically said that you're rejoicing over a man of God being shot. And they said, "You're probably going to block me from saying this. And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to block you. I mean, you post stuff on your page all the time that I'm horrified by, and I would never think to take you to task in public. So yes, of course I'm going to block you." And I finally just took the post down and put an emoji of praying hands. I'm like, how about that? Is that controversial? Just praying hands. You read into that what you want. I don't know, Bishop. Those hands look white to me. I'm like, well, let me try it again. I'll try to use the black hand prayer emoji. But then somebody's going to say you're appropriating black culture. You ain't black. I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus. You know the story. What was the story about the man and his son? And it was a man and his son and a donkey, and the three of them were walking together. And somebody said to the young man, "Why are you so disrespectful to your father to make him walk? Why don't you let him ride the donkey?" So they put the dad on the donkey, and then the people in the next town said, "We're going to call DFACS because you're a perfectly healthy man making this child walk." So they put the child, and then They both got on the donkey, and the ASPCA said this is cruelty to animals, so they reported him. So then the two of them just carried the donkey, and then people said, you're mentally ill. You've got a perfect... And it's a classic example of there's going to be somebody who's in another dimension who's going to see what you're doing and hear what you're saying in a way. Because when this person who I've known for years said, man of God, and I may lose people when I say this, I just hadn't thought of him as a man of God. I'm sorry, that's not a loaded statement, because my only experience with him was him saying that gay people should be executed. So when you tell me he's a man of God, I have to say, do you think I should be killed? Because he did. And that doesn't mean, look, I hate all gun violence. You don't even want to know how liberal I am. I wish we'd lived in a world without guns. I don't even have a gun. Bishop, what would you do if somebody broke in? I don't have a plan. I've thought of it before. You know? My dad had them hidden all in that house. There's been a couple of times I'm like, maybe I need to look at, is there another one? I don't know. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying for me, of course it was horrific. And for this person, I thought, the fact that you would think I'm glad about that, I mean, I was just thinking, depart from me, you cursed, I never knew you. Like, you must not know who I am. Of course I think it's horrible. Of course it was horrible that a young man was killed and that he has small kids. Medgar Evers was about the same age, and he was gunned down in his front yard in front of his children. I mean, violence happens all the time. It's all horrible. And I was naive I just didn't see that. And kid's been in a text war with somebody who's said, because he must think that Ken is a Democrat, which I don't even know what Ken is. I figure he thinks like I do, but he's texting him like, you Democrats killed him, and Ken's like, it wasn't it's a white guy from a MAGA family who actually followed a white supremacist who didn't think he was right-wing enough. At least that's the information we have at this point. And they were going back and forth, and I said, it's in Utah. I mean, it's like the whitest, reddest state. I mean, that's great that they're worried about crime in Chicago, but this wasn't a black guy from Chicago. This was a white guy that kind of looked. I mean, they look alike. They look like they could be first cousins. And finally, I said, stop texting him, because everything you text just galvanizes him more. And so this is interesting, and I may have lost. Some of you may already be like, he was like, but you will not be the first, believe me. But last night, and this is pertinent to my what I'm talking about. We were looking for a movie to watch. We were sitting there, and I said, well, let's look at this. They did a remake of the Wolfman movie, and it had Julia Garner in it. We like her as an actress, so I said, well, let's watch that. So we watch it, and in this story, it's like a dad and a mom and a little girl they're going to where his father's house was out in the woods, and he gets attacked by, I guess, a werewolf. And so he goes through the progression of turning into a wolf himself. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's all right. It's not like I'm saying you have to watch this movie. But I did feel like I wanted to watch it. So we did. And this is what struck me. The way they directed it, when the guy is gradually turning into a wolf, he starts taking on like wolf instincts. And like there's this one thing where he's hearing this pounding in a closet, and he goes and opens it, and it's a spider climbing. But to his wolf instincts, it sounds to him like boom, 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 boom. Because Ken even said, why is it, why is it so loud? I said, because that's how the director is showing how he's beginning to hear things. And as he progresses into the wolf, like his wife can talk to him, but the camera will turn and he sees her in a different light, like her eyes are glowing and what she's saying. Like she's saying, we love you, we're going to get you through this, but he's hearing, like it's all distorted. And when he tries to talk to her, same thing. Like they just hear, like he's saying, I'm dying, but they're just hearing growling. So, and the camera work was very interesting because every time they would move back around, like his wife and his daughter, the lighting would go super, super dark because that's how he saw them. And an ex-evangelical that I follow wrote this. He said, if you understand why this young man is being set up as a Christian martyr, it's because people, especially white evangelicals who think a certain way and have been very conditioned to warfare, they say, you can show quotes of things he said that I'm not even going to quote them because I'll just get you. There's no way to win on this. You're just going to get attacked for it. So I'm not even going to quote some of the things he's said. Two things can be true at once. You could say, I don't like that this guy said this, but I hate that he got shot. Both those things can exist. I don't think violence is the answer ever. And I feel like I shouldn't have to explain that. Like, really? You think I'm pro-violence? Really? It does make me think, I'm reading people who went to church and now some of the stuff they're writing and posting. I'm like, well, I clearly had no influence on you. And now I'm just wondering, do you think I should be executed? Because you just, like 48 hours ago, just messaged me and asked me for prayer. And I got to tell you, it's going to make it a little hard for me to pray for you now if you think I should be stoned with stones until I am dead. Because you may not hear it that way. That's how I hear it. And you think, how did people, I keep hearing people say, all this violence, this is not who we are. I'm like, it's kind of who we are. I mean, at this point, it's not a fluke. Kind of who we are. I mean, I'm seeing people post things that just, last year we're making fun of Paul Pelosi for somebody breaking in and bashing his head in with a hand. They made fun of it. And are incensed now that anybody would say would just post quotes of that the man said. It's not like one. I was like, that's what he said over and over again. And my mom's already told me how proud she is of his widow, and she's already in hair and makeup and speaking. And I started saying, Mom, do you think I should be executed? Just want to know before I go pick up dinner for you. Just a question. I just need to know what's my back. But I thought, what's the point? It's just like, well, I'm sure it's hard. And what's that got to do with this? There are people in your world that are living in a different dimension from you. And they don't speak your language. And I don't know what the answer is to that. I wish I could say, y'all just talk about it. You're clearly talking about it hasn't. When the internet first came on, idealists thought, wow, this is going to be like the town square, an exchange of ideas. Kind of like in London, Hyde Park, where they've got that place where anybody, I forgot the name of it, but anybody could stand up and say anything, and it's like a bastion of free speech. You can't do that now. And it's been on both sides. I mean, I'm not in denial over that. I was telling BJ, I said, if a black drag queen had shot Charlie Kirk, I'd be like, well, there you have it. It is what it is. But that just wasn't the case. I can't speak for the trans community, but men who have gender reassignment aren't doing it to play sports. I know you keep hearing this, that men are having sex changes so they can play in the WNBA, and like, I don't think you understand. Sports is kind of low priority in that community for the most part. Oh, now the mic should have gone out today. Cause I'm gonna pay for this. What? I know. Shoot.
You're gonna have to go with it. You open it up.
But when the internet first came out, they thought it would be an exchange of ideas and the world become a better place. And it's done just the opposite. Because now I read stuff that people who say they love me, they post. I'm like, how did you ever sit through one of my sermons? I mean, I don't even know. Aside from, I clearly have no influence on you. How do you even listen to me? I mean, how would you even listen to me? That's why I've told my mom on more than one. I said, please listen to Jensen Franklin and Jimmy Swaggart. Don't listen to me because I'm going to upset you because I'm going to say universe. And I know that's problematic for you. So she doesn't watch me anymore, and my life is much happier. I don't know the answer to that. I'm just saying, when I watched that last night, I thought, all the arguing that people do online is pointless. All you're doing is, again, galvanizing the, people. Oh, that's, of course you think that. And since I've opened it up, there's some questions I don't have the answer to. Yes, it's troubling to me that National Guard possibly going into Chicago. I think they've decided not to now because there was some pushback. But crime is a problem in Chicago. I don't know the full answer to that. Do you understand? Like, there's some things you're like, I don't. That's a good point. I don't know. I don't think that's the answer. Something else has got to be. And I watch people try to have a discourse, and discourse doesn't help. It just makes people. How can two walk together lest they be agreed? I think the only answer is to say, you're in another dimension from me. I don't know. Let me try to communicate to you what I'm saying, but you're not here. And I guess I'm not hearing you because I've already read the stuff you've posted, so I'm assuming that's what you think. And look, I'm not just being dramatic. It's a scary thing when people say you should be executed. I mean, it makes me rethink people. Like, that's what you think? That's in the back of your mind. Like, he's a good preacher, but man, I wish they'd blow his head off. I mean, it's very sobering. Did I just get too real? Guess what? People who live every day with racism and homophobia and transphobia and stuff, it's real. They're not just being drama queens about it. It's a real thing. And it doesn't stop you from living, but it does make you aware of where you go and who you're talking to and what. If you wonder why some people are a little careful with you, it's because they've heard stuff you've said. Let me try to, with everything in me, any of you listening, because I'm feeling you right now. If I've ever had any sway with you at all, I'm asking you not to take me on this. If you want to unfriend me and never speak to me again, that's fine, but don't go after me, because what I'm saying is coming to you from a pure heart. And no, I did not post or ask for a moment of silence today, because I've never done that for anybody. And lots of people, the same day he was shot, there was a school shooting. School shootings have happened so much now, we don't even, honestly, when I see on the news there's been another school shooting. I usually see how many people were killed, and then I turn the channel. I can't sit through it again. I can't, there's nothing I can do about it. And I hate that that's the word. I mean, back in the early days, Columbine, I didn't miss a minute of that. I watched every bit of it and cried. Now, I mean, am I being too real? It's got to be a pretty significant death count for it to even get my attention these days. That's where we are. Wow, Bishop, you started with a lot of revelation and now you've just taken all hope away from us. No. I think you have to be realistic about things without becoming pessimistic.
Say that one more time.
You have to be realistic without becoming pessimistic. And this is what gives me comfort when I see things and like people that I love. I think, wow, you're living in a whole other dimension from me. So you're not. I just keep thinking about. I wish I could show you a clip of that, where this guy who's turning into a wolf is talking, and the people that love him cannot hear what he's saying, because it's like, oh, now I know why we watch this. And Ken's at a point where he said, I'm nearly to the point with the guys I work with, say, I just need to know, do y'all think I should be killed? Because it may affect, I just need to know. When somebody says it, you have a tendency to want to believe it. This is the only thing. Oh, what I was going to say, what gives me peace is in Hebrews, everything that can be shaken will be shaken. I just think, well, things have to get worse before they get better. That's the part of me that refuses to give in to despair. And I don't hate anybody. God knows I don't want anybody to get shot. I don't even want anybody to have a gun. There's always this thing that Joshua said that always resonates with me, where he says, choose you this day who you will serve, but he opens it by saying, as for me and my house. That's the only real metron you have. Yeah. Metron means sphere of influence. It's for you and your house. I'm not saying you should give up on trying to change the world, but you've got to be realistic about it. There's some parts of the world that don't want change. Yeah. And they don't like the way it's changing now. And there's even people on the other side of the political arena can say certain things. I'm like, that's a valid point. I don't know the answer to that. I know that that's the messiness that comes with democracy. Because democracy demands everybody gets a seat at the table. And everybody gets to have an opinion. And not everybody wants that. I don't always want it. I mean, when I heard the guy this morning saying that homeless people should be exterminated, I thought, I don't think that, but can I tell you the truth? When I drive around and there's people laying on the sidewalk, I don't like to look at it. I don't think the guy should be killed. Oh, am I being too real? I just think, somebody do something about that. I don't think that's the answer, that we should give him lethal injection. But I don't know all the answers. I did homeless ministry for years and saw very little improvement in people because it's just where people are. So that's part of the reason I don't talk about everything online, because there's some things like, I don't know. I know that ain't it, but I don't know what is. So then what do? Well, you're responsible for your creation. And the Spirit is vibrating over you. And you have to say, 1,000 will fall at my side and 10,000 at my right hand. It will not come near me. As for me and my house, I'm going to try to mind my own business and not take everything this person says personally. Maybe they don't, maybe I'm hearing it filtered through my instincts, and they don't realize how they're coming across to me. I'm going to try to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's what, when Paul says forbear one another in love, that's what he literally means, is understand where that came from. That's not what they meant. In the early days when I first came out, I appreciate straight allies, but there were some straight people that said things to me trying to sound supportive. I thought, you have no idea how homophobic that was, what you just said. And I know you mean well, but don't do that. Let's just be friends. I don't need that. I'd be uncomfortable with a gay person saying that to me. It's creepy when you say it. Right? I mean, black people in this room, I've probably said things over the years, you're like, you're easy. And you've had to say, well, his heart's in the right place. And, we get through it. So that I'm totally fine with. Like, well, but we've got to learn how to communicate, and what did you mean by that? And yes, you should judge people in their heart, absolutely. And to try to have a spirit of understanding. Why does this person even think this way? Because they've had a different experience than you. And then for you, I can't tell you how many times this week I've thought about your experience. Like, I really needed that. I know you're like, yeah, I did too. Yeah, I know. I know. But you're right when you say it's our miracle. Because you have to be reminded, like, you know what? The world's still a beautiful place. Miracles still happen. God is still real. My definitions might have changed or evolved, but I still believe, even though I have responsibility and personal agency, of course I believe in a higher power. And I do see things that happen that are beyond what I can ask or think. And I do understand that I've been given the potential to release miracles in the earth. And I'm so appreciative for that. And I don't take it for granted. And I'm grateful for everything. I mean, I know I say those things so much it can nearly become white noise, no pun intended. But it's, those are really the things. Gratitude, you gotta think of it every day. I mean, this morning, when I got up, there's a part of me that thought, I don't feel like getting ready. I just didn't feel like getting ready. Because I don't just roll out of bed. I mean, I gotta do stuff. I know y'all do. I know y'all were this beautiful at 5 o'clock this morning. But some of us have to work just to get here. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm gonna go. I bought a new suit to speak at Judas Church. I haven't worn my new suit here. I'm gonna wear that. And I'm gonna go. I had to sit there and intentionally change the way I felt about it. And I thought, no, I feel like I've got an important word. And I know I navigated you through some tricky territory, but anybody that has misheard what I said today, you don't know me. Yeah, you don't know me. One thing that was interesting about this movie last night, the little girl, her name was Ginger, 8 or 9 years old. She had this connection where she and her dad said they could read each other's minds. And there's a scene in it where the guys, he looks horrible and he's all torn up, and the little girl comes and puts her hand on his head, and because he can't communicate. And she says to the mom, he wants this to be over. Which part of me thinks, I wish they didn't have children in movies like this. It's too intense. But I'm sure they explain it to little actresses. This is all make-believe. But that was an important part of that, because I thought you nearly have to be able to, like when the scripture says, no man after the flesh, but after the spirit, it nearly means read his mind. Like, I know you couldn't have meant that about that. Because some of the people I've seen say stuff this week, I thought, I know you really don't think that I should be executed. Surely, no. I just think you haven't thought it through enough. Just understand how people like me are hearing it. That's all I'm saying. It's just understand. You have to be a steward over your own words. And your own posts. Like, how is this going to be interpreted? For me, it's not the coward's way out. I just don't want to fight with people. It's stressful to me. I don't think it produces good results. I think if people see you a certain way, it only validates what they already think. Well, of course you would say that, and it's just pointless. So I have to say, well, then what can I'm going to post something I think we could all agree on. Praying hands emoji. Because that means there's a lot that needs to be prayed about.
We watch out for sex, Jeremy. A high five.
Yeah, good. I hear that. All right, did I bring weird energy in here? I don't want to do that. Because where I started is a little different where I ended up, but I feel like it all needed to be said. And I want to validate back to the personal things. I mean, of course, you're elated for your good news. Hasn't there been parts of it that like sucked? And that's my point. It doesn't invalidate the miracle part, but don't tell me. I know even just what I went through with my shoulder, just even getting in a CAT scan thing is like, I think, this is, and I'm not even claustrophobic, but it's like, I'm sure this must be, especially people who really are in life and death situations and they're in pain. This is a lot. And it's okay once in a while to say, I'm fine, but it's a lot. That's why I posted, which he didn't care, but I had called Howie I told y'all about this deal with my phone, which I'm still in the middle of. I've gone through some of it. Some of it actually went to the Apple store and they got everything off. And so I could take that other phone back. And then when it was all done, I thought, oh, I'm out of here. It's a miracle. I was ready to do a post. And she says, all we need is her iCloud password. I'm like, see, that was the whole thing I told you an hour ago. She never set that up. We don't have that. And so I ended up in my conversation asking about their wonderful trip to Las Vegas. Good for y'all. I ended up telling him the whole thing. And the next day I texted, I said, I apologize for getting on it. First of all, it's boring to hear all that stupid stuff. And that's when he wrote me back. Some of you read it. A friend loves at all times. And how are we going to bear each other's burdens if we don't know what they are? And I'm like, this is why you're my best friend. But there's a part of me that thought, why did I make him sit through all of that stupid story about the phone? When you're living with somebody who's frantic about it and, has said so much about it, you're like, don't say the word phone. Don't say phone. Don't say I can't hear you say phone one more time. I'm working on it. Everything in my life is trying to get you a phone that works. Don't say phone. Don't say phone. Can't say phone. Can't hear it one more time. Why did I go into voguing? I don't know. What was that about? And she knew it. I said, Mom, you have to back away and don't say phone again, because I worked on it all day. And she did. She's finally said, because I just reactivated her old one. I said, this is the way it is. You know, when she called you and asked if you knew what the code is, it's this whole, I'm like, don't call anybody else, ask for your code. We don't know the code. Nobody knows the code. The code is forever settled in heaven. Nobody knows what it is. It can't be discovered. And she's fine with it. She's like, I've never been so grateful. Can I still text? I'm like, yep, you still text. And she can. But it's fine. It's fine. My point is, it's still good. I have a good life. I'm blessed. Some things suck. It's kind of like, I'm trying to let you go. Is my mic still on? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Where is it? We talked about in Mark chapter 10. He said, you will in this life receive 100-fold return. Yay! And comma, with persecutions. Can't I just 100-fold return, da, 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 with persecutions? It was much better till you added the part after the comma. And so what that means is, yes, you can have abundant life. Miracles are real. You're releasing out of the atmospheres. And yes, it's wonderful. All of the uhs are becoming thes. You have the Spirit is vibrating over you, and you can create your own reality. And yes, miracles are happening, and you're intentional, and life is good. And there's parts of it that suck. I remember when, I don't know, I've said enough. I'm going to end on that. I kind of got y'all back up here. I better stop now. Stand up. Stand up before I keep talking. Developed in preaching. Like when Dr. King, he would, in some of his speeches, he would work the crowd into a frenzy, and then he would just walk off. I never learned that. I never learned how to just walk off and leave them wanting more. No. Charles turned my mic off 40 minutes. Do you hear me? Does it make sense? Does it resonate? Good news is the part that sucks doesn't stop all the good stuff. The good stuff's still there. It's not either or. Have I ever said this to you? It's yes and. Play this so I'll shut up.
Contributing to Metron is quick and easy. You can give any time using any smartphone. Text the amount you'd like to donate to 404-620-5044. You will then receive a notification that you successfully completed your donation. You may also visit bishonthennow.com and click the support tab to give there as well. When you contribute to Metron, you're also donating to the charity or organization of the month. Thank you for your investment into Metron.
If you have a check, make it to JESM. If you have cash, pay it forward. And seriously, Charles does. His Cash App is on there. All right. Spirit of God, I would like this message to be sealed, that only the people that need to hear it will have heard it, and the people that don't need to get into it, it will just pass over them. Let he or she who has an ear hear. And everything else, let it fall to the ground. And we do rejoice over all the miracles represented here today. And life is good. You came to give us abundant life, and we intend to enjoy it. God bless you. Go in peace.